You're listening to the Level Best Network.
This is the Intercot Insider Live, episode number 108. The Intercot Insider Live is brought to you by Magical Journeys, Intercot's official travel agency and the Disney Vacation Experts, and also by the official Ticket Center for tickets to your favorite Central Florida theme parks and attractions at discounted rates. And here we are again, back after a little bit of a hiatus, I must say. A little bit too long, quite frankly, but this time of year, for some reason, it's a little bit tough to get everybody together. But tonight, we've got Cindy from Florida.
Hello.
Hello. Ian from Philadelphia.
Hi, John.
Justin.
Home of the Super Bowl champion.
Oh, jeez. We knew it was coming. Justin from New York City, or thereabouts.
Yeah, the home of the Super Bowl Philadelphia champion.
Close to it. And Figment, Jason, in an undisclosed bunker somewhere in the Midwest.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
First of all, congratulations. I'll get it out of the way.
Oh, boy. We really haven't done a show since that?
Not that I was on. Yeah, I think you guys did record one.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, wow, has it been that long? I was a little concerned.
It's okay. The Giants fell apart. The Rangers, they sold everybody off. Baseball season starting.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, baseball, everybody.
Hey,
Yeah,
baseball,
how about that?
March
the Phillies
Madness.
just signed?
Oh.
Who signed?
The Phillies. They actually signed a viable free agent.
Are you guys, really just passing right over March Madness? Done. Just
Yes.
like it's not even happening.
Oh, the Phillies signed Jake Arrieta, man. That's a big deal.
Come on, bro. The most
Okay.
exciting few weeks in sports.
Yeah, actually, it's
every
Selection
year.
Sunday, right?
Yeah, it is. They already did it. They did it.
Oh, did they really?
It's
I
done.
haven't
Yeah,
looked
they
at
did it. They did it different this year, and we're not gonna turn this into Sports Talk 980. But it was interesting the way they did it this year is they just announced all the teams right up front, and then showed what the pairings were. So you didn't have to wait to wonder whether you were in, but you did have to wait to know who you were playing. So yeah, thank you, Justin. It's appropriate. Yeah, I don't even care now. My Dayton Flyers are out this year, so go Nova.
Oh, really?
Go Nova.
Intercot bracket challenge again, John?
We probably can do that. I can probably put that up tomorrow. The bracket challenge. Yes, we do that every year. Just it's pride, not prize. Really, stealing a phrase from my buddy Ron Ross from SiriusXM. Pride, not prize. Is what you are playing for. We'll get you something.
Wildcats are a 1 seed again this year.
But yeah, Wildcats and Xavier, actually. All right, enough of sports talk. Going to be moving on. So we did something a little different prior to the show tonight. So I went live for about 5 minutes, not even, on Facebook. And by the way, yeah, eventually we would like to kind of move to some sort of video broadcast of this craziness, but we're still trying to figure that madness out. But anyway, I did ask the peeps out there in INTERCOTland if they had anything they'd like us to cover tonight in the show. So what I figured we'd do is kind of roll with that right off the top of the show. And so John Hoyt, our buddy down there, John and Melanie, asked a question, and there are a couple interesting things that happen, and they tie in nicely with news. Just wondering, I think, was it John that asked that? Well, it might have been Patty. Oh, I'm getting the two confused. No, John asked one of the interesting things, because I was down there about a week ago, wondering why it's so crowded January and February.
That was John.
More crowded in this January and February than in any month in 2017. Now, this was something that I noticed, too, and I'd heard that the parks were pushing capacity at points. And it says March isn't looking much better. He walked away from a 30-minute wait from the People Mover yesterday.
Wow.
And do you guys have any theories? So
I know Marathon Weekend, it was crazy down there. I mean, it was insanity.
I mean, the only rationale I have is that people have lost their ever-loving minds. I don't understand why. I have no idea. When I go there, I just look around and I'm like, what are you people doing?
What do you think? Everybody's going off of the old assumption, kind of, that used to be the less crowded time of the year to go.
That's got to be part of it.
You think?
I don't think there's a less crowded time of year anymore.
Yeah, but people still don't realize that. I think the masses, maybe.
I think that one day in September when it's off season and a full moon rising backwards, I think that's the one day it's not crowded.
Yeah. I'm not even sure
What day is that? Would you like to identify that day? Okay, just
September 3rd.
So I was at the opening weekend of the Flower and Garden Festival. Thanks to Disney for inviting me down there for that, by the way. And everything looks beautiful as it usually does. I will say, though, so I drove in, and there was about a 15-minute wait at the entrance to Epcot at the toll booth to get into the park. And after I got in, somebody else said to me that was also at the event, and I'm not sure who to quote here, so I won't, but they basically said, is it free ticket day at the parks or something? Like, they were saying that to the Magic Kingdom, it was backed up almost all the way to the Swan and Dolphin.
Wow.
Like,
I would turn around and leave.
When we were there for Marathon Weekend, Animal Kingdom, one day we went there, it was a 30-minute wait from wherever the road is that you go, that either goes to Animal Kingdom Lodge and Animal Kingdom. From that split right there, it was 30 minutes till we got parked.
I mean, Animal Kingdom, I can sort of... this pains me to say because you know my feelings on Animal Kingdom. It's a great bar. But I can understand because at least it has a new attraction that's wildly popular.
Right.
So, I mean, I can get Animal Kingdom, but I mean, and I guess opening day of Flower and Garden Festival, I can sort of understand being mobbed. I know Carolyn would like to join us, by the way.
Well, right. I got that, by the way. I was working on that in the background.
Sorry, we're trying
to, the delicate
Canadian,
flow was, I was trying to manage it.
On the show. But anyway, I can understand that, but why would Magic Kingdom have be backed up to the Swan and Dolphin? I mean, that's insane.
Right. So that
people have lost their ever-loving minds.
Yeah.
They have. I don't know what it is. I have no clue.
January and
the prices
February
just go through the roof. I mean, they just raise the prices by numbers that are almost unbelievable every year, and the parks get more crowded. They are disproving the theories of capitalist supply and demand.
Right.
I mean, they raise the price and the demand goes up. That's not the way it's supposed to work, people. It's I don't get it. I'm just completely mystified by it.
January and February used to be the heavy South American tourism time.
Right.
I know that dipped a little bit because I think like Brazil and Argentina went through a little bit of a recession. But I don't know if that's still part of it.
Well, I would think Brazil got an influx with the Olympics and everything a couple of years, 2 years ago, whatever it was. They should have got some influx.
Yeah.
Money.
They still come, though.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's as heavy as they were a few years ago, but when we were over at Animal Kingdom on the day that, again, thank you to Disney who let us go to Animal Kingdom on a Saturday, there were definitely Brazilian and South American groups there with the flags and everything. Probably not as heavy as a year or two ago.
Right.
Right.
But not, not like non-present. I think it's a bunch of things. I think that if you haven't been in January and February for a while, people are like, oh, it's so busy, what happened? But it's been getting like that more and more. I mean, Epcot is kind of easy to tell why. It's because they have alcohol all year round at some event.
Right.
I mean, that's really what goes on at Epcot.
It's the festivals.
It's the festivals.
Yeah.
The festival of festivals.
Something. I mean, right? We went from food and wine to Christmas stuff to the Festival of Art, and now we have Flower and Garden.
Just to mention the Festival of Arts,
whatever it is.
Summer.
Isn't it Flower and Wine and Food and Garden now?
Pretty much. Flower, wine, garden, food.
I was there for the Festival of Arts this year, and it was actually very nice. I like
It
how
is
they had
nice.
all the
We've
art
been.
stands all over the place. It was actually very, very nice, and
They
the
used
artists
to-
were there signing stuff.
They
It was
used
actually
to do
very
that
cool.
years ago. They called it Festival of the Masters, I think, and they had all these Disney artists that were there. But I thought they stopped that. I didn't even know they had brought it back until I saw it this year.
I think when they did that though, was that at the park, Ian, or was that because they
No.
used to do it at
It was
No,
at
that
the
was-
marketplace.
That was it. Yeah,
Right.
the Disney
Yeah.
Marketplace.
This is either the second or third year for Festival of the Arts. I think it might have been the second. Yeah.
Second, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
I agree. It's cute. It's cute, Justin. We went last year because it falls in during field trip time. I mean, I think that's part of it too. Is that especially for the Florida schools, you get kids are in schedules on all different times now based on the testing. Down here, like my spring break is this week. Other kids had earlier breaks. Other kids have later breaks. A lot of school trips in February. A lot of school trips in February over to Orlando doing different things.
Right.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one, and it wasn't insanely. Well, we were there in the morning, and it wasn't insanely packed. You could walk around. You could actually stop and check out all the things. The different artists, and it was enjoyable. Considering some of the crowds that you go for wine and not wine and dine. I got Run Disney on the brain, which we'll talk about later.
Right.
Food and wine.
Nice tease.
Food and wine just gets to be insane. I mean, it's
That
just
is true.
it's not even fun.
I
Right.
completely
Anymore.
agree.
Well, I mean, I will say basically, I went around and I didn't feel like it was exceedingly crowded, but it was busy. I mean, it was busy even after that start. So I wasn't really sure if it was just, again, people trying to get in because it was the first, big weekend of the Flower and Garden Festival. And I suspect there was a lot of that. But I think it's just approaching that point where, like Ian said, it doesn't matter what you do or how much you raise the price or whatever. People are just coming and they're coming and they're coming. And I think, at some point, again, the tiered pricing thing may start shifting, and they're trying to even it out throughout the year. So, geez, I don't know.
You know what I see here too, which is kind of interesting, is as the pass prices go up.
Right.
My friends who have passes, my friends who don't have passes, they're like out. They're not going to get passes at these prices. But most of my friends or kids' friends, acquaintances who have passes keep them. And
Right.
I find as the price goes up that they're paying, I see them posting on Facebook and talking. They're going more and more because the more they're paying, the more days they want to
They're
go.
trying to get the value out of their pass at that point, is what you're
Yep.
saying.
Well,
yeah.
we just became
That's an
annual pass
interesting
holders for the
theory.
first time last year. And, we went down a lot of times to make it worthwhile. And we renewed it again this year. But so far, since we've renewed, we haven't been back down. But,
Right.
you almost feel like you have to go down to make it worthwhile of getting the pass, which I know I'm real late to the party about buying an annual pass, but that's a different story.
No, I think that the idea that the other thing that Disney does that I honestly don't understand, like when you compare it to California, where they're trying to, keep the local people from going as much and they're downgrading passes, Disney offers to Florida residents so many different pass options.
Right.
Like millions of them. You have the regular passes everybody else has. You have the after whatever it is, 4 pass at Epcot. You have the weekday only pass. And they're constantly running Florida resident specials. There's been one going on for the first 6 months of the year. Something like $179 for a 3-day ticket, something like that. So, again, people buy them and they use them. And I think at least what I see down here is because everything is so crowded, and I don't know how this mirrors out in the rest of the country, but people are, one, more willing to pull their kids out of school and go to the parks at what's supposed to be a non-busy time, so there isn't. And a lot more people are homeschooling, and they go whenever they feel like it because they're not on a school schedule.
Yeah, my mom and I were talking the other day too. I'm not sure how many people will remember this because it was way back when. But when Disney World first opened, there was really no such thing as locals that went to Disney World. First of all, there weren't very many locals because there wasn't a lot there. And second of all, the locals actually were sort of down on Disney World. They didn't go. In fact, it was one of the things I think that they had a problem with when it first opened. The attendance wasn't quite where they wanted it to be because the locals weren't going in the way they thought they would. But now, I mean, there's a whole, and you guys know this better than anybody. There's a whole like cottage industry built around people just relocating to Orlando so they can be in Disney World, and that's all they do is go, to the parks.
Very true.
Sometimes, 3-4 times a week.
Right.
So, I think that volume it just increases all the time because there's just more and more people going and doing that, and it's just, I think that's part of it.
And it'll probably increase to the point where they do what they did in California, where they just start eliminating all the local discounts and things like that. So
I mean, it's weird though, John, because they keep doing more and more. Like, because you guys all know my favorite store, Target.
Right.
So about a month ago,
Target.
walked
You
into
like Target?
Target.
Oh, just a little
Everybody
bit.
likes Target.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
But you walk in now, and I don't know if
Target
they do
run and
this
done.
in other parts of the country, but there's a big, huge display of buy your Disney tickets right in front of the registers.
No,
Disney.
no, we don't have that. No,
Yeah.
we just don't.
So obviously
no.
they want Florida residents to pick up those passes.
Right.
Buy them. I think it's pass. I don't think it's pass. It might be pass vouchers and it's regular tickets. And it's like one of those, big cardboard displays, and it's right in front of
great.
the registers.
That's great. Get a 6-pack of Coke and your seasonal Disney pass.
Actually,
Right.
hi, everybody.
Hi, Carolyn.
Hello, Carolyn.
Hello.
Carolyn was coming Disneying to join us all, guys. So
Yes,
here she is. She's
Right.
fresh
I am-
from Disney.
7
Fresh.
miles
I don't know about
from the
fresh.
entrance from
At
the
Disney.
gate of Disney.
Right.
And you're just saying about they have displays in Target. You can't go anywhere down here without. I mean, you could. What did Christine used to say? You could swing a dead cat and you'd hit something.
Right.
We went to. I mean, we're really living large on our vacation right now. And last night we went to the Golden Corral.
Yeah. How'd the
I saw that.
how'd the fountain of E. coli go?
With
And
your
like,
Golden Corral post.
you can't walk in there. They have like the little vestibule lobby,
Grade
and there's
C
somebody
beef.
sitting at a desk there, being like, "Oh, are you going to Disney?" And it's like, "No, we're all taken care of, thanks." Or we went to like an outlet mall the other day, and there's people like stalking you to buy tickets there, and
Well,
they're everywhere.
So
man.
what? I gotta ask, what's the obsession with the Golden Corral? I mean, grade B/C beef, and
I know. Oh my God,
I mean,
might get steak with a side of
like steak with a. I saw that steak with a side of steak.
Oh
yeah.
God, it's gross. No, I like they have yeast rolls. They're like really squishy, buttery buns. They're really good.
Their yeast rolls are yummy.
I have never been to the Golden Corral, and we do have one here in Spring
We
Hill.
used
I've
to
never
have-
been.
Cindy, we may all have to go. We'll have a staff dinner there
An intercot staff dinner
at the Golden Corral, maybe to
Oh my
stock up
God,
on our
let's go
carbs
there.
before a run ICOT race.
Spared no expense.
Yeah.
We used to have like Ponderosa up in Canada, and then they shut that down.
Yeah.
And then we had one where the spokesman was Monty Hall, and it was called Bonanza.
Oh yeah,
I
we had
remember Bonanzas.
I
Yeah.
thought-
God, we had Bonanza down here.
Yeah.
Remember
Okay, so
Bonanza?
we had that, but like there really isn't any buffets in Canada. There's like Chinese food.
That's
But
because Canadian people eat like normal human beings,
that's right.
No
not
duffs.
like
when-
Americans.
Down to America,
Duffs.
it's like you've got. We were talking, John, the other day about Duffs.
Yeah,
and
Duffs.
You guys remember Ryan's? Was
Ryan's Steakhouse. Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
that had like a little buffet in it.
Yep.
And so now the big one is Golden Corral. So that's like a real thrill for Canadians to go and like you can have like candy floss, like cotton candy.
Candy floss.
Yep, that
I like that.
and chocolate Wonderfall, and that
Canadians
That
are
scares
really
me.
easily amused,
you know what?
aren't they?
Yeah.
Look, I've been to Golden Corral once, okay, and I was a little scared when I went and came out of it, and there is no way in heck that I would put my anything like in that chocolate
oh my God,
waterfall
my
or whatever.
live on
It's just
top of
The
that
chocolate saliva
chocolate
fountain.
It's
Wonderfall.
just
No-
not the
Nobody's gotten sick. Maybe it helps with their immune system. I don't know, but
oh my
we
gosh.
have
Oh, dear.
I mean, I guess
to
what
Saliva
have to
fountain.
go to Golden Corral once.
seriously, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but I mean, God, the
good for
germs,
your
like I
immune
just
system.
can't imagine. Ugh.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Like, I don't-
Julie will stand there. They have like everything on a stick, so she gets like a Rice Krispie square on a stick and marshmallows on a stick,
And puts
everything
it under
on,
the chocolate waterfall.
and it all goes in the Wonderful, man.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh, she loves it. I
It's
was
not
like, I
chocolate.
stick to like
Oh yeah, of course.
basic
Who
something.
wouldn't?
I'll have
I mean, what
mashed
kid wouldn't
potatoes.
love that idea?
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I stick with the basics. Like
No.
some.
No,
Eh.
no.
Yeah, I stick with the basics, but she eats everything.
I
She'll
mean,
put anything that wonderful.
I think we talked about it in our day. It was just the endless vats of mac and cheese and the ice cream station, right? Where you could
the ice cream station was
dip,
awesome.
you pull your own ice cream, mix chocolate, whatever,
Listen,
and then
I remember getting very excited when I could serve my own soda. That was a big deal.
Oh, yeah, that is a big deal.
Endless refills on soda. You could just get as much as you want.
okay.
I always end up getting like a big pile of mashed potatoes, which is like, it's not real mashed potatoes. It's the one that they make with the flakes. Like
the box. The
box
Hungry Jack.
mashed potatoes.
Hungry Man.
Oh,
whatever.
I love those.
I used to
They're
love
not
them.
bad though. I mean, they're really not bad.
No, they're not bad.
You throw a little gravy on them, and they're
Dehydrated
little
potatoes.
gravy on everything is good.
I mean,
So we had our
exactly.
I mean,
we had our
it's like
golden
bacon.
corral.
You wrap bacon around anything, and it's good.
We had our golden
Bacon
corral last
wraps.
night, but yes, they were definitely trying to sell us passes there. The thing is that we always come down, like, it's just now starting the week of Canadian March break, and as of Friday, it's like you don't even bother going to the parks. But last week, you guys saw me on Facebook Live. There's nobody there, so we always come in March for 2 weeks.
wait. Let me check that. Hold on. Check the phone. So we were thinking about going down there Wednesday. So you think it'd be okay or not? Or no.
It's going to be crazy.
Okay.
Like the wait times, everything. Thursday? Okay, last Thursday, the wait times, it might say 45 minutes, but it was like 15 minutes. And I'm talking like Space Mountain, Splash Mountain, like everything seemed to be like they were overestimating the ride times 3. So if it said 45, it was probably more like 15. You guys saw me on Facebook Live. If you guys didn't see it, go back on our Facebook page. You'll find it. Where I walked through the line, it said, I don't know, what did it say, 15 minutes to get on Tower of Terror, which that's crazy that it's that low anyways, but it was walk-on.
Right.
So, but then by Friday was our last day at the parks because we know, like, oh, God, the second week of vacation, we don't go to the parks. And everybody, we went to Blizzard Beach today, and it was pretty empty. And you could hear people being like, "Oh yeah, we were going to go to the Magic Kingdom this morning, but everything had a 2-hour wait." So, yeah. So check, like, just for giggles, go on the app tomorrow and just see what the ride times are around the time that you'd be coming on Wednesday, and you'll see what I'm up to.
I wasn't going to point this out, but I wasn't going to go to Disney. Was going to Universal, but I was just trying to gauge what the crowds were, generally speaking.
Mom, that's probably going to be busy too. Like I said, it's spring break for a lot of counties.
Is it?
Down here, a lot of Tampa Bay's off. I'm sure probably other places. The thing you get into in Florida, like I said, is we have state mandated testing, and it's usually in April and May. So most of the spring breaks are falling in March now. They used to fall later. Like when my kids started school, before they were doing all that testing, we would have break later in April. But it's always in March because they need to get the kids to come back in time to work on it before they do the tests.
This is good
And
stuff.
school in here ends at the end of May usually, so you've got like that little window.
Cool. Okay. I'm going to move on to another one of our questions, and I think Patty Stark asked this one, Isabella. Wanted to know, so this will tie into our news item. This is where I was going before. That apparently there were some exploratory permits, Jason, that were filed for River Country.
Yep.
And Patty's wondering what wild guesses on what those might be. So what are the details on that? What do we know so far?
As we've seen before, because Florida has a very high water table, mostly because it's a swamp.
Right.
They have to file a lot of permits just basically when they, like if they're going to sneeze at a construction site, they have to file a permit.
Right.
So there's a lot of permits get filled out just for minor things. So this is pretty minor, but they're taking, I don't know, it's like about a dozen boring sites, which means you're going to sort of take a bore out of the land, out of the wetland, to see if it is suitable for future construction.
For building on, right.
For building.
Yeah.
So they're doing it in two areas.
Okay.
One is kind of between the old River Country area and, let's see what the name of the road is here, West Wilderness Road, all the way down to about the intersection with that and Frontier Way. The other area is kind of bordered between the old River Country park, the settlement trading post, and Bay Lake.
Okay.
So it's two kind of non-connected areas they're looking at building on top of. So that, of course, has caused a lot of speculation about what it could be.
Right.
The most prevalent guess seems to be some sort of resort that they could maybe reuse the river country area as the, sort of pool area disconnected from the Bay Lake water source. Or maybe build over top of it, yeah, or just build over top of it as well.
I would imagine that stuff's
expansion of Fort Wilderness.
Yeah, that stuff's going to be raised, like all that stuff. If it's not already gone, it's done.
It's not gone, which is amazing, but it's not.
Yeah, it's a little odd that they're not doing any borings in the actual what was the river country property.
Yeah,
but maybe since they already built on top of it, they know. But I would think there'd be different requirements for building, like a 20-foot slide than a building.
Right. Probably.
So probably. So it's a little interesting.
Yeah. I would tend to agree that I could see that in more resorts. They've been talking about building.
Well, yeah, one of the articles I read said that they're expecting such an increase in demand with Toy Story Land and Star Wars Land that they feel like a new
Star Wars: A Galaxy's Edge.
At least new, whatever. At least one new, and probably multiple new resorts are required. And from what I understand, most of their resorts are almost. I mean, we just finished talking about how crowded it is, so the resorts are pretty full.
I mean, but if most of your parks are close to capacity or feeling crowded or whatever, and you're going to add more capacity to your hotels, where are the people going to go? I mean, just where are they going to go?
Into the new land.
Yeah, but
remember, they're expanding Epcot, they're expanding the studios.
Wait.
I would think they're trying to pull people in from off-site.
They're not
trying to
expanding Epcot. They're not expanding. I mean, they're adding back in a couple attractions maybe to the mix, but.
I mean, it was a fair amount. I mean, it wasn't just a couple. I mean, they were adding,
I would say instead of blowing all your money on these hotels, which maybe eventually one day do that, how about you spend the money on making the rides you currently have work? Like,
here we go.
Did you guys see my Carousel of Progress stuff? Like, how ridiculous was that? John's mouth was not John Yaglenski here.
No, John Progress.
Audio animatronic.
John Progress.
Progress, John.
Yeah.
His mouth didn't move, and there was a bunch. Like, I call them noobs, but they're new to the parks, and they're all kind of sitting there like
noobs.
Who's talking? Like, his mouth isn't moving. And then,
we talked about it on the last.
It's like it was frozen. His mouth was half open, just frozen, and then suddenly it would get a burst of energy and be chattering, like his teeth were chattering, and then it would stop again.
Well, we spoke about it on the last podcast with the heads falling off of the animatronics. Yeah. They're not doing maintenance.
You can build as many hotels as you want, but then those people are going to be like, great, we just paid all this money for the hotel, and
if you build it, they will come.
But you missed this part. I can't figure out what will stop people from coming to Disney World. I mean, the parks aren't maintained the way they used to be. The cast members aren't
space out front
up to quality as they. Yeah, that would work. This cast isn't the same quality it used to be. They don't build attractions, that are up to the same standards as they used to. But yet, and don't forget they raised the price exponentially every year. Yeah. But yet the parks are constantly jammed.
I wish they would just
Cindy thinks
say,
it's the
limit
drunks, just likes to come and drink.
Not just the locals. Lots of people are drunk.
Lots of people are drunk. There's plenty of drunks to go around. It's not just the locals.
I don't know, Ian. I don't think there's any. It doesn't seem to me, because we've been talking about this, for 3 years now? When are people going to stop coming? And I don't think it is. My other theory, beyond that they have something all year round for the busyness, is that they have gotten what they want. A large part of their clientele are people who save up because of the Disney mystique. It's out there. They advertise. Let's just face this. If you look at the movie lineups for the last 2 months and going into the next 6 months, it's like Disney owns everything, and they're everywhere, and they're out there, and people save up. and they come for a big trip, and then that's their like one time in 5 years, 10 years, whatever, and they don't sit there and think about all these things like us because I spent my $10,000 on my super big trip, and Disney gets what they want, and then those people don't come back.
Let me ask the podcast the question here. Now, I just heard a story. I don't want to say who it was, but I just heard a story of a family of husband and wife and their two small boys, 6 and 4. They just went down, stayed off property at a timeshare, and still they were there for maybe a week, 6 days, 7 days, and they spent $10,000.
What?
Yeah, that's pretty, not even. I can believe that.
But staying in a timeshare, and I'm not including the price of the timeshare because they got that for free. $10,000.
Okay.
They didn't do crazy dining.
No, but you and I know that, like, I'm not going to spend for the Park Hopper plus super Park Hopper to go to water parks 10 million times in 1 week. Like, you and I and everybody on the podcast knows that there's little ways to save. But if this is your one and only trip, and you've got a gung-ho travel agent that's like, hey, you want to have the trip of a lifetime? I'm going to set you up with the trip of a lifetime. You guys are going to eat at 1900 Park Fair.
Which they did.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And the husband and wife.
Now it's coming into focus.
Right.
How long did they stay for, Justin?
Do you know? Go on a night out, just the two of them, to Victoria and Albert's, and hire a babysitter. But, like, do you know what I mean?
But it wasn't a travel agent because they went to a timeshare. You know, so it was they kind of booked the stuff on their own. They were there. I either 6 or 7 nights. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can spend if you eat. You have a family of 4. And depending on how you eat in the parks and where you eat, you could easily spend $1,000 a day just eating if you ate like a character meal every meal. Easily. I mean, it costs
even quick service. Service for my family for 4 people is $50.
So you guys know Disney's not unique in this because I just told you we were looking to go and spend a day at Universal. Okay, so if I stayed at one of their deluxe resorts because I want Express Pass, right? Mm-hmm. It's $400 and something a night. Okay, so we've got that $400. Now add into that 4 people, day park passes, which are at $100 a piece. That's $800 right there. Add in parking, quite possible.
Do you do park hopper?
And that's true, yeah. And if you do park hopping, even more, right?
Well, you shouldn't. You shouldn't have to pay for because that should be included.
Not at the resorts. It's not. No. Where are you staying?
Really?
Have you stayed at the Swan and Dolphin recently?
No, I haven't.
$20 a day.
There, so.
Yeah, but the Swan and Dolphin are significantly cheaper than $400.
I'm just saying. No.
Right,
I mean they're like 2 to 3, but depending on the night. But anyway, even so, they charge you for parking, I believe.
Yeah, they do. I just stayed there. They definitely charge you for parking.
So by the time you do that, then add in meals or whatever, a day at Universal is well over $1,000.
Yeah, but that's,
I guess I'm just naive then. I don't know.
Scale, John.
Right. Yeah. Well, then you start adding it out, but
it's not a good investment for a day.
No, it's not. But
knows for admission. But listen, let me just tell you.
Wait. Before you go on, just because I want to clarify. So I agree with you completely. It's not a great thing, but you can compare apples to apples or whatever. But if you've got 4 people and you're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks, and even if you're getting a multiple day pass or whatever, and you're paying $400 a night to stay in the resort, so you get their thing. And again, I'm just doing this Universal to prove it's not just Disney. This is not a unique problem here.
I mean, listen, John, if you took 3 kids or your wife and 2 kids to a football game, you could for 3 hours you could easily spend probably close to $1,000.
Pro football, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
good luck with the Eagles raising prices, by the way.
I never go to football games anyway. Football is the only sport that I have no interest in watching live. Anyway, but listen, my wife is a travel agent. We pay 50% for our hotel, and she gets a discounted pass. Now, it's not deeply discounted, but it's probably half price. It might be less than half price now. I think it's like $250 or something for a 7-day.
Wow.
Right. It's a good deal.
And we get
say that
50% off.
But you have like 18 kids.
our rooms. Well, we have 2 more kids than the family that Justin was just discussing.
So they had 16?
Right. So,
it just, I don't know. It just seemed an exorbitant amount. I was just blown away when I heard it.
It's definitely doable because people that also are on those once-in-a-lifetime trips are like, oh, you want the giant Mickey Mouse stuffy? Okay, we'll spend the $60 on your stuffy. Because
I don't even think they bought, like, yeah,
Trish,
I don't know.
Trish routinely, and I'm talking more than once a month, books people on vacations that are over $20,000 in Disney World.
Wow.
For four people. I'm not talking about like groups necessarily. These are
Wow.
But we spent our vacation in Disney World for a week is usually like 13, 14 grand.
Wow.
I can believe it.
Oh yeah,
I can believe it. I mean,
that's us knowing.
Maybe I'm just naive because it's just
crazy.
It's just Dawn and I, no children.
Well, I don't think you're naive, but right for you, it's just the 2 of you.
Right.
And you have DVC, so you're not that you use it all the time. Just I know you don't, but you're used to that.
Yeah.
And you get used to what you shop under. And I think for all of us here, we're not on that big one-time trip or every 5 trips. We're going in and out. So I can look at my kids and say, no, this is not a souvenir event. We're going to the park for the day. But as Ian was saying, and how long does it take? Whenever I go into, say, Mouse Gears or anything, those of us on this podcast might not be buying a lot and bringing stuff home, but those stores are always hopping. There's lines. It's busy. You buy 3 T-shirts, that's already $100.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, and another thing, they went on a mission to find the rose gold ears, which I know that fad has like died.
I don't even know. What is that?
I don't understand.
What is that?
Still, we're selling them only in one place, and I believe it was Mouse Gears and Epcot. That was the only place where they could find them.
Oh no, they're everywhere now. I've seen
they expanded it.
Cupcake. What is it? Somebody post on the boards. Why do you love rose gold? I don't get it.
Rose gold is a color. It was a color apple.
It was in Cosmo, and Cosmo made a big thing of it. And they were going for
if you looked on
eBay, they were going for thousands of dollars for a pair of Mickey ears, which the silver ones are the same exact thing, but they're not rose gold.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing. I feel like people have lost. Like I said, I feel like people have just lost their minds.
You never say that.
Everybody gets so insane.
You forgot, hey, Grandpa Mitchell. You forgot ever loving.
Ever-loving minds. These people have lost their ever-loving minds. No, but seriously.
Okay, what would you think of this? Do you think that this is could be a good possibility? What if they build all these resorts?
Right.
Okay, first they lower the capacity. Sure, yeah, we can cram. Just pretend. Just think this through.
Okay.
Oh, that is pretending.
I don't know what the number is.
Where's my Wayne's World
I don't know what
music?
the number is that they let people into the park.
Okay.
Nobody really does.
Okay.
I think it's
like 100,000.
No, it's not that high. I think it's like 50 or 60,000 people, depending on the park. Jason, do you know? That seems like something you would know.
50,000.
I know what they limit the hard tickets to, which I think were like 20,000. So the park capacity has to be, I don't know, at least double, triple that?
Yeah, probably double.
Okay, we'll say it was 50,000.
Yeah, I think it's
Magic
50,000.
Kingdom.
Let her speak.
And then they said, okay, well, we're not going to do 50 anymore. We're going to do 40. Okay. Well, then they are obliged to let their resort guests come in. So what would happen? Do you think this is a possibility or a good idea that Disney World becomes a thing of you have to stay in our resort to get to go to the parks, and then the capacity level is lower, but you have to stay in a resort to even come here.
But that then eliminates every last local person, then, right?
Right, but then think of hey, then all these people that are going to spend $10 million on a trip, and they're also spending in their hotels and everything.
Yeah, I mean. Honestly, if you get to the point,
what I'm saying is, would you be like, oh, okay, well, I really want to go to Disney World, so I guess, okay, I'm gonna go and book a hotel.
Once my kids are grown and don't care anymore, I won't ever go back to Disney World as long as I live. Like, I won't. I mean, I guarantee you I will never go. I'll go to Disneyland.
Why is he on the podcast again?
I will never.
I'm just trying to
No, I
remember.
love Disney, and I love Disneyland. I would go to Disneyland. If I wish, I was just saying to Trish the other day, I wish we lived closer to Disneyland.
Let me try to address your question there, Carolyn. So if that actually happened, why would you not build another park at that point? Because you're out of capacity and you can build more hotels and the demand for the product is so big. Why not at that point, just fifth gate?
Well, part of the reason why they might not want to do a fifth gate is they got enough problems finding qualified employees now.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I think part of the problem is that
What's that, Jason?
Said, and is that capacity sustainable?
I mean, imagine
building a park is a pretty fixed asset.
Yeah. All right, so
and I hate to be a Debbie Downer.
Yeah,
but,
and I was going to be
remember
one.
what happened?
Hold on. I was going to say, God forbid.
Sorry.
I was going to say, God forbid. Something drastic happens again, and we're rolling bowling balls down Main Street again because nobody's going because everybody's scared and is staying home.
Right.
No.
Well, I mean, they weathered that when it happened last time.
They didn't weather it too well. It took them almost 10 years for the pop resorts to be put back into development and things like that. And
what if something happens at a theme park, not even theirs, but a theme park?
Oh, well, that's even worse.
End of the world as we know it.
That's
Let me ask you a question. Well, I mean, more for Carolyn and Cindy because they have younger kids. If let's just say somebody walked into, God forbid, let's say there was something that occurred at a theme park, would you take your kids back?
Probably.
I wouldn't. I don't think.
Really?
But you see, after the fact,
stuff happens at shopping malls and stuff, and I'm
it's like, do you never go shopping?
I'm never going to go to a shopping mall.
I tend to agree with Carolyn.
I don't.
Yeah,
there's two things. Number one, you kind of sort of at times have to go shopping, right? I don't really go.
Boy, this took a dark turn.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
I was just wondering. I mean, I was.
No, I feel like
I'm just trying to do a fun podcast here, and Ian just takes it right down some back alley on the in Baghdad or something. What the hell just happened here? Holy moly! Can we just change the subject?
You can never go and have fun ever again because something happened somewhere else.
Goodness gracious!
No, okay. So getting back to my original question, though.
You know what?
Getting back to my original question, though, the thing is,
cut the mic. Go ahead.
With the park capacity, they have a certain number of hotel rooms, and if all of those hotel rooms are booked, then they're kind of banking on everybody in each of these rooms is going to be at the park.
I get your point.
The invariable is how many day people with that just live in the area or that are staying off site. We can't tell how many of them are going to show up.
Well,
we don't know.
My guess is now that capacity doesn't equal at the hotels doesn't equal filling up the parks.
Right, I would agree.
Right.
Also, keep in mind, I think common sense dictates that the better scenario for Disney overall is fewer guests spending more money. Right.
Right.
It's happier guests because it's not as crowded, less people required from a staffing perspective, less wear and tear on the, it's a no-brainer that for them it's much better to have fewer people spending more money. So, Carolyn, I think if they could get it to that point, I think they would prefer to do that rather than what they have now. I mean, I think the draconian increases in prices that you're seeing are related in no small part to them trying to dampen demand a little bit. They want fewer people spending more money.
It's clear they're doing that because of California. Words. I mean, it's clear that that's where the company is headed, at least on the West Coast. They're trying to dampen the demand of the locals. So the question is, it's only a matter of time before it comes to the other coast, based on running out of capacity.
I think it's interesting, though, because beyond just Disney, it's so hard to compare Orlando Kissimmee to Anaheim and Disney because Orlando has become a whole big thing. So, if Disney suddenly starts being like, okay, only the people at our hotels can come there, it has huge overreaching economic results on the rest of that whole entire area, the other tourist things and all of that. So I think it gets complicated, and it seems to me like Disney is actually trying to play both sides. They want to keep their parks as busy as possible. Yeah. But they're building more resorts because they're like, okay, you know what? Yeah, we want you here for these 4 days, but if you go someplace else for 3 days, as long as you stay with me, I can deal with that. That it brings my parks down a little bit, but you're still paying me for food, for a hotel. And I think that's one of the reasons why they keep going after hotels more than attractions, because they want more places for people to stay, because those people are coming anyway, no matter what they build.
Well, not only that, yeah, that's true. And also, hotels are revenue generators.
I mean, what about?
People pay
I know
through the nose for the room. They pay for booze in the bars. They pay for food there. I mean, it's a revenue generator.
Yeah.
Whereas a park is a massive expense.
About opening up another resort, like they've opened. How many in Asia? They have,
I think they're looking at that, aren't they? Though. Oh, you're talking about a new, like Disney's America.
Yes, somewhere else.
Do you think my domain actually might get bought eventually? That I am?
Maybe.
Disney'sAmerica.com. Disney's
I
America.
actually was watching a video of Disneyland Paris.
Right.
And with snow. And there was this really cute video of Stitch playing in the snow, throwing snowballs at kids, which I know that could turn terrible. But it was just, it's not like they couldn't do it.
There are places they could open another.
Yeah,
park.
it's just.
You could open one in Texas.
It's been rumored forever, right?
Yep. Well, even somewhere Midwest,
central to the country.
You can't be in like the tornado belt.
Right.
You can't be like, it's already bad enough with having Florida where it is and hurricanes.
But they opened Disneyland's in
you don't want to be in
central.
like North Dakota, because believe me, you don't want to be outside in minus 900.
It would have to
might
be.
Also make stuff like the Mall of America. That's huge and it's indoors. I'm not saying that the whole place could be indoors, but they could make a significant part of it indoors.
Am I wrong, or don't they have a park that's got a significant part?
I think the Main Street at
Main Street in Tokyo.
Is it Tokyo
is
or
covered.
China?
One of them.
Tokyo is covered. It's World Bazaar.
Right.
Right. Oh. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So I mean, there is a precedent for it.
I think it's going to have to be like Ian said. It's either going to be in Texas or they're probably not going to do it. The reality is they thought about doing the regional theme parks, and that idea pretty much went down the hopper with Disney's America. Although the location was the location was not great that they picked. They didn't do the research the way they should have.
I mean, I think one right outside of New York City would be perfect. But I mean,
so do I. I would.
We all think
that myself.
Hey, just buy out Coney Island and turn it into Disney.
There's always rumors going around that they're going to put it. We have a really crummy theme park north of Toronto called Canada's Wonderland. It's like Six Flags kind of place.
Yeah.
And there's always these stupid Facebook rumors.
Oh, it's going to be taken over by Disney.
They're taking over. Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, Canada's Wonderland is so tiny and it's surrounded by houses. Like nobody.
I would be very surprised if they ever did one in a cold weather city. It doesn't mean that they wouldn't, but I can't see it happening.
I can't see that happening either.
But like I said, just looking at that video, it just seemed so cool. Well, I guess because it was just different. Seeing Stitch, the characters playing in snow.
Right.
It just was different.
Right.
But I guess that could get real.
It did snow in South Carolina.
You get somebody
close.
that slips on the ice, and now everybody's saying they're slipping, and
I know. And like even watching
opens a whole other ball of wax for them that they don't need those headaches.
Well, that's also society.
It's actually a can of worms that you open. It's not a ball of wax.
Oh yeah, that too. Well, you could crack open a ball of wax.
That'd be pretty disgusting, but
what would happen?
Well, a can of worms wouldn't be much better either, quite frankly.
Worms are gross.
That's why it's not a good thing to open.
Ball of wax.
See, that's the.
You knew what I meant. Come on,
Jason, get us back on track, please.
All right, so
It's too late for that.
I'm gonna move us along. So River Country.
Do we have other questions?
Yeah, we have other questions.
We have more. Yeah.
I got one more from John Hoyt and then Greg Ferguson, not to be confused with Craig. has one too.
Or John Voight.
Right.
Got questions from John Voight.
John Hoyt. Not to be confused with John Voight.
Wow, Voight,
right.
Cool.
Wonders of Life Pavilion. Now, this is something I wondered, okay, when I was down at the Flower and Garden Festival. It's not being used this year.
Right.
Really?
Right.
No, it is
Wow.
not.
No. And
And-
actually, they have just announced that they're going to be ripping apart the Odyssey to be the new festival center.
Right. So they're talking about doing some work on the Odyssey to transition it to a more multi-purpose kind of space. John's asking, any thoughts on why this is closed now? Kind of miss going in there for the festivals. Well, I miss going in there for the attractions, like when it was an actual pavilion. But that's a whole other thing. So
a thing
thoughts?
on Twitter a couple weeks ago where a whole
Was it on
bunch of
Twitter or the Twitters?
the Twitters.
Okay, good.
And
Okay, good.
just in the last week, I saw it with my own eyes again. What do you call the cast members that aren't wearing uniform? They have like a shirt and tie, like the high up people, cast members.
Plaids.
Management.
That was funny when
No,
you showed
Not the
plaids, like
plaids.
manage-
It's like
the
it's like
management. Yeah, the
It's made at a
management
certain
team.
level.
Right.
Mouse
Large
leadership.
groups, large groups of
Right.
them going, and they were like they have like a little rope across the little pathway going up to the Wonders of Life Pavilion,
Right.
and just on the other side there were groups all the time of them all in front of that building.
Did they all
So-
have their grabbers?
Well, no, they had like
The old lady
clipboards.
pickup things.
They
They had-
all have them.
They
Yep.
were all talking,
Supposed
and
to.
it was a big deal. And somebody had said that a couple weeks ago. They also saw that, and like that's really weird that it's like
Well,
Yeah, something's happening.
Definitely.
One rumor which was posted on the boards is that it'll be annexed by the Space Pavilion next door,
yep.
and that's where the restaurant
Yep.
will be added on
Wait,
into.
Wonders of Life we're talking about.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
don't want to be like overly simplistic, but I'm not that mystified by it because it's right next to where they're building Guardians of the Galaxy, so I'm pretty sure that it has something to do with that.
That
Maybe half
or
of that and half of the
Well, the
restaurants?
permits actually show a new building being built behind the Wonders of Life with the launch bridge connected back to the building. So it might be connected to part of that, or it could be the other project they announced.
yeah,
the
where you're
original
going to dine in
concept
space, right?
Yeah.
No,
The
I thought
original
that was out.
concept art
No, that's
showed
out
it on
in
the other
Interventions,
side.
though, isn't it?
No,
the
it's
concept
back
art
to the
showed
in
it.
space.
Yeah, on another side.
Oh, yeah, you're right. What? I'm still wondering what the hell they're doing with Interventions. Then.
Tearing it down, according to at least
what
some
it
of
looked like.
the things
Yeah.
that I've seen.
Yeah, but what are they going to put there then?
Green space.
just space. All the concept art looked like it had been
Space.
torn out and replaced
Final
with
Frontier.
trees.
The
Trees
latest
and stuff.
rumor is that there will be a new show, a nighttime show, possibly against Spaceship Earth, and that would be why they have more open space and more gardens, or maybe incorporate. Looks like there's will be some new like water areas, I think, as well. So it could be more like a laser
the
light
hub?
fountain show.
Yeah.
Huh.
We need more trees.
Yeah, but then what's going to happen when you're staying in the hotel? You're going to have fireworks going off.
Hey,
in your
that was a good segue. What?
That's another segue.
Right? Yeah, because that's still looking like it's going to be a possibility, right? Huh?
Yeah, so that was
That
rumored.
seems legit to me.
That was rumored for a while as well, and then recently they just filed construction permits to build a hotel. I guess if you were standing in front of Spaceship Earth, looking out of the park to the left of the entrance. And we got a map on the.
That's
Is that
where all the
over where the
buses are.
buses? I was just going to say the
Yeah.
buses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So going towards the buses, there could be a hotel built kind of in that somewhere in that area, potentially straddling the monorail beam.
It would make sense. What's John's favorite saying? Monetize the beam.
Fix the beam. That's my favorite
Well,
thing.
I'm just saying you got to monetize. it.
Maybe the most interesting thing about the permit is that in the graphic it refers to the center of Epcot as Epcot World Center.
What? Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Hold on. World Center.
yeah, Epcot World Center. Well, that was interesting.
It is interesting.
So again, it's more exploratory geotechnical borings.
Right.
Learning all sorts of fun words tonight.
Don't worry, the monorail beam's going away.
No, it's not. We have a bet, by the way, just in case anybody's
Yes, we
curious
do.
here.
We do have a bet, yeah.
We have a hundo going
We have a bet John is certain to lose.
Yeah, I know.
Does anyone remember the details?
Come on,
I know it's back at our chat.
It's in the chat window, but
my recollection was that John never really firmed up the details.
No, my recollection was that you never firmed it up, but Justin and I firmed it up.
Okay.
So I thought my bet was with Justin, but we'll have to go look at the details. So I have a hundo, as we call it, a hundy bet on the fact that from about I don't know, it was how many weeks back? 3-4 weeks back, something like that.
About that, yeah.
That within 12 months that Disney will make an announcement, just an announcement, that they are replacing the existing monorail fleet.
Yes.
So I'm down to about 11 months now, I think. So,
yeah.
So
and I said that they will make no announcement.
Doesn't have right. That exactly.
Oh no, it was an announcement. Yes, I firmly agree. There will be no announcement. Or no, there will be an announcement. Wait, what was my stance?
You said
on
there
that
will be
again?
no announcement. John said there will be
we gotta
no announcement.
clarify though. What if they announce
that
we're making the monorails go away? Like
well, then I'd lose. I'm gonna. You know what?
Is that they're replacing it. Justin is saying it'll be nothing.
So you're saying, like, if they're replacing it with something else?
No. What I'm saying is, okay,
I thought that's where you're
for John to win, we're making very clear
up on this podcast in droves right now.
Right, no.
For John to win,
right,
they have to say we are putting new monorails on the monorail
on the beam, right? Yes.
Take the old trains off, putting new trains on the beam.
Right. We're replacing our existing fleet. Right. I mean, it could be 2 monorails a year for the next 5 years, whatever.
I don't care. Any announcement about monorail modernization would win.
And what Justin is saying is they're not going to say anything, or they're going to say we're blowing up the monorail.
Okay, and I'm going to clarify, and I'm going to give this to Justin because basically I will concede if they basically say we're just modernizing the monorails like the existing monorails, he wins.
Right. No,
I just found it. I just found it through the thread. Here is the bet. I will make $100 bet that Disney will make no announcement of new trains.
Okay.
1 year from today, if no announcement. So the date is February 11th, 2019.
Man, okay, we've already lost a month.
You're a month ago today, John.
And I'm going to put in my calendar. I'm going
the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Man, I'm in trouble. I've only got 11 months to go.
We got 11 months. You're good. You're good.
All right. Okay.
I'm actually going to screenshot it. And
so that
put
came
it
up.
in my,
so that's a thing. So you intercotees in case you're following along at home. Yeah. So that's February 11th.
Check back in 1 year. We'll see who's $100.
Wow, this is pretty serious.
Yeah, Carolyn.
I know.
Someone needs to screenshot this.
I know. Normally we don't do this kind of stuff, but you know,
we're not really a wagering.
No, we're just not. I guard my money. Quite frankly, I gird my loins.
It's all fun.
Don't talk about your loins. Nobody wants to hear about your loins, John.
I beg to differ.
Thanks,
Put
Grandpa.
your loins away.
Okay, Grandpa Mitchell.
Put your loins away.
No privacy at all in this place. Anyway.
Oh, wow. We are way off the
Okay,
rails.
so
really weird turn, guys.
Moving on. Here's another interesting one. So this is...
actually, she's never been on this podcast before.
Yeah,
Greg Ferguson, as opposed to Craig, asked
Greg
on the pre-show that I did online on Facebook, which we'll try and do that a little bit more often and see what kind of get you guys involved in the show, at least until we start videoing live. Most recent Disney firsts for the crew here. So, in other words, something that you just recently did for the first time at Walt Disney World.
So, can I ask a clarifying question?
I don't think
I am
basically that's all Greg Ferguson asked.
Well, we need to come up with a rule here.
Okay.
Because my question is, does that first include things that are brand new?
I mean, it could. I think it could.
Something that
that's a first.
I mean, a first is a first, right? A horse is a horse, of course.
Is that what he wants? You know,
I can't ask Greg because Greg's not here. He just asked that exact question.
Greg,
Send it to our brains through osmosis.
All right. Okay. Yes. Send it to us through your telepathic powers.
Let's just go with our own interpretation, though I don't know what mine is going to be. So something
what was
done.
it again?
Most recent Disney
Most recent first that you've done. There are so many
Most
things that I have not done.
First.
My name on Twitter and everything is my turkey legs. My turkey legs.
Oh,
and
my.
I have never
You like that plug?
had
Wait,
a
hold
turkey
on.
leg
Where's the...
at
I have.
They kind of scare me.
With good
So
reason.
I
Very
still have
gristly.
not done that first, and I still have never seen Phantasmic, which I was
Also-
Yeah, but you're
going to do
but
this trip.
This is not
And
your
that would've been
not
my
Disney
first.
first.
No. I'm saying that I was going to do that on my trip this
Okay.
week, and that would have been the perfect answer.
Well, I have,
If I had
I have
known
one
Greg
that
was
Carolyn,
Okay.
you were involved
I
with. Chef de France or Chef de Paris, whatever it was.
Chef de France, yeah,
de
that
France.
was
We did that. That was a first.
That was the first. I probably did that as a kid, but I don't remember.
Okay.
So
Behind the Seeds tour. Dawn and I had never done that
yes.
one,
Oh,
so
you
that
hadn't
was
done
a
that?
good one. No, that when we did it at ICOT 20, that was the first time.
I think my most recent first was my first time on Pandora with you guys in October.
oh yeah.
That's a good
That
one.
would be
That is a good
my
one.
most recent first.
Oh, I know what my first is.
What's that?
Just the other day.
No, not
I
that, Carolyn. Not
No,
that.
no. It's family podcast.
I had the cheeseburger pod.
Oh,
did
they
you
are
like it?
awesome.
With my husband. Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
What's a cheese?
I
Is that
like
like a
this too.
handwich?
No,
No,
at,
it's the thing
at
at
Pandora.
Pandora that it's like a doughy
Oh, yeah, I didn't have that.
cheeseburger inside. It was good. I actually liked it.
At
And I'm very
Sal
picky.
Canteen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we love them. We
Oh.
actually go
Oh.
almost every time we go and get them since it's been open. Trying to think.
I can tell you. I mean, probably mine is staying at Coronado Springs. Had never stayed there, and
Oh,
nothing.
I have a first coming up.
Yeah.
Next month we're going to do one of the tree houses at Saratoga Springs. I've never done that
Ooh.
before. So.
Right.
Those look cool.
This October, believe it or not, despite being there during the food festival for
Stand by.
FryCot 20,
Yep.
that was the first time I ever bought anything from a food and wine and festival
I
kiosk.
still have
Yeah.
not done that.
Really?
I still haven't done that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think I have
I
I
either.
can't be bothered. I can't be
I
bothered
went
to
there
stand
during
in
it was one of the days, and I went to a couple of the kiosks.
Do
but
you mean
yeah,
from
that
one of the
was-
actual food kiosks or one
Yeah.
of the? Really?
Yeah, from one of the food kiosks.
I-
I went
actually, to
inside
say the
the
truth-
Odyssey, and I went to one of the ones in Epcot in the.
I haven't done it.
When you
Future
mentioned the
World,
Odyssey,
actually.
Jason, I think that might have been the first time I was in the Odyssey
Yeah.
when I met you there during ICOT 20.
Yeah.
I think I might have ate there as a kid, but I don't remember. Even walking in there, it didn't ring a bell, so I don't know.
I like that. Good question.
Yes,
That's
very
a good
question.
one.
That is a good question. And a last one that came in just recently, Chris Smith, a longtime follower of Intercot, wanted to know about the replacement of illuminations.
We just talked about that.
When?
Maybe.
Just now
Jason just
talking
talked
about,
about it.
the
Did I miss
nighttime
it?
show.
Yeah, you
The
missed
nighttime show, and that's why they're
How did
going
I
to
miss
rip out.
that?
it. And
they're
then
gonna
they might
rip out
be
intervention.
projected on the globe and water and
That's still
Oh,
a very
okay.
much rumor, though.
All right. So, okay, I must have missed the fragment of a part where he said about the replacement
That's
of it.
why they may be raising all
Ah.
of innovations and making it a more open area because they
I
may
just
need
don't-
that
do
for
you
nighttime
actually-
show view.
Okay, do you actually see that? Because I think around the lagoon is a perfect place for a nighttime show to take place.
Well, they
and I
could
can't
still
see-
do both.
I could see
They're not
both.
necessarily mutually exclusive, but
Right. You could do them simultaneously.
That's what I
Yes.
think they're thinking, like doing like a World of Color type thing in the lagoon, but then also having stuff in Future World as well.
So you can watch it from anywhere, but you might
Yeah,
get a
you
different
can.
experience. Would it be cool?
Yeah.
See, that actually is not a bad idea. So depending on where you are, if you're out on the lagoon, you get one experience, and if you're in the front of the park, maybe you get a different experience, but it's the same show going on simultaneously.
Yeah.
That would be pretty
I like
cool. Actually,
crazy talk, John.
I know. Wait, hold on. Intercot Consulting. Mind blown.
Mine.
I think that would be cool, actually.
Yeah.
If possible,
It's
too.
time.
Okay,
It's
so
time.
I think
It's like
we've
a
got...
choose your own adventure fireworks show.
There you go.
Well, that
That'd be pretty cool.
glow with the show.
Might get a little hot though.
Oy. Oy.
Dangerous.
All right, Jason, I'm turning the reins over to you. What,
All right.
what else do we have to talk about? I think we went through most of the questions. Thanks to everybody, by the way, who submitted. If
Yes,
anything
great
else,
questions,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you guys. Great
Yeah.
guys.
if anything else comes in before the end of the show, I will bring it up a little bit later on. But till then, we do have some news to cover and things like that. I think
Yeah.
there have been some interesting
So
stuff.
speaking of questions, from questions to questionable decisions that may be being made.
Oh boy. Here we go.
The Halloween parties and Halloween season for 2018 at Walt Disney World appears
Starts
that it'll
in
start
August.
even earlier. Well, it did last year, but at least at the very end of August.
Is that in my head?
What?
Maybe.
I don't hear anything. You hear something, Justin?
That must be in my head. Okay.
Gotta be you.
Yeah, it's got to be.
So last year the party started August 25th.
Yes, I was there. And it was
This
very
year
bizarre.
they haven't announced it yet, but the
But?
calendars show the early closing at the Magic Kingdom at 6 p.m., which usually indicates the parties, starting on August 17th.
Wow.
Which is several people have commented that's before their school system goes back from summer break. So they're pushing that earlier and earlier and earlier.
I vote for in 2020, they're just going to alternate Christmas party, Halloween party all year long.
Sure.
I'm good for that.
Christmas until July.
Oh no, Christmas in July.
Yeah, and
Christmas in July.
then that's right. And then
Yep.
Halloween starts.
Just parties all year round. No more nighttime hours at the park. Pay events only. That's
Did you
my
guys
guess.
see that Ryan Gosling?
They could just do
clip
away with the
on,
rides too, really, and just have, they could just close all the rides and just have a festival. It's one big
Did
festival.
you see somebody interviewed Ryan Gosling and they were asking him about his favorite Disney ride and he said that the Haunted Mansion was his favorite, but he said that it's ridiculous that they put the Nightmare Before Christmas in like the what do you call it?
Overlay?
The overlay.
Overlay, thank you, over top before Halloween, because when it's Halloween, you want something like spooky and scary, and you go in there and it's like, oh, there's some candy canes and like a
Yes.
gift wrapped in it.
But
There's
he's
nothing
the
scary about
Pumpkin
that.
King.
I know, but so he should be around Christmas. I
hated
agree.
the Haunted Mansion holiday.
I know.
when
We're aware of
No.
that.
Oh,
Yeah, we're aware.
I'm sorry, and I absolutely love
agree.
it. I love it.
I
'cause
like
Nightmare,
it,
Nightmare
but it
Before
should be a
Christmas is one of my
Christmas
favorite
overlay.
movies.
Well, I hate
So,
Nightmare.
All right, one at a time, kids.
Sorry, Dad.
I just hard time hearing it.
You have to raise
And I'm
your
on
hand,
the podcast.
wave at John, and then you can talk.
Go ahead.
All right, Justin,
Nightmare
we
Before
call on
Christmas-
you.
Thank you. Nightmare Before Christmas is one of my favorite movies. So I absolutely love it. But I can see as being a old grumpy, sorry, I shouldn't say old grumpy man that you wouldn't want to see that. But,
Grandpa Mitchell.
Okay, Ian, counterpoint.
I disagree.
You
Well,
win.
that was a
The,
letdown.
the correct answer is it's perfect.
Nah, I was just bored, but I didn't like it. And you know what? Actually, I've said this a billion times. Haunted Mansion is my favorite attraction, and
Right.
and going to Disneyland, that was my first time there actually, and I wanted to see the Haunted Mansion. I was just kind of irritated because I don't really like Nightmare, and I didn't really think it was that good. So
And actually,
I don't
would
mind
agree
Nightmare.
with you.
Yeah, that's the same thing that happened to me too, Cindy. Is that my first trip was when the Haunted Mansion had the Nightmare overlay, and yeah, you kind of wish that you could see what it's actually supposed to be. Like I would think it would be fine if it was Christmas time.
I think I've actually
It's
seen
like a
it more
Christmas
as the
story.
Nightmare Before Christmas than actually the regular Haunted Mansion.
That's what I mean. Like I wish that the ride is perfect as it is. It doesn't need anything.
And
else.
they added back the infamous "Was it there? Was it never there?" The Hatbox Ghost.
the Hatbox Ghost, yeah,
Yes, that's actually very cool.
that is cool.
also.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is neat.
Old
I
news.
did see that the
I
last
just didn't
time I
think
was
the
there.
overlay was very good. Like I love the Christmas overlay at Small World. I thought that was really cute.
Really?
Yes.
See, I completely disagree.
We see. I like their Small World out there better.
amazing.
Also with the Disney characters
I
sprinkled.
actually like that. I did not expect to like the Disney characters in there, and I actually thought it was really cute. I liked that they added them in there.
All right. Moving on. I'm gonna cut off this conversation.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it's been out there for like years now, so I think we've only had this same discussion like 4 or 5 times on the
Probably.
podcast
That is true.
over the last 15 years. But go ahead.
So it's okay, people. Nothing's changed.
Move it along.
How
Status
much
quo.
are we really going to be able to talk about?
We've got other
It's a
stuff.
100-day podcast, for God's
We've got
sake.
other stuff.
do.
We're an
People are
hour and
dead.
10 minutes
This is
into
podcast
this.
number one.
We've got stuff. We've got stuff. Go ahead.
Lost people over the years.
So
Audience now.
speaking of things that have been, open for years and celebrating anniversaries,
Yes.
this year does mark the 20th anniversary of Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Right.
So the actual anniversary date is the 22nd, but the celebration will be going on from then through the summer with several events. But
22nd of April, right?
correct.
Earth Day.
Yes.
That's
Right,
Oh,
Earth
right.
Day.
And that's, I believe, also Dark Side Half Marathon weekend. Sorry, I have run Disney in the brain,
Maybe. Don't
so
I believe it is.
I believe it is.
That's my daughter's
the-
birthday. She likes to celebrate with the Animal Kingdom.
Yay, Katarina!
So Party for the Planet, which is their Earth Day celebration, is, I believe, expanded this year. It'll run April 22nd through May 5th as kind of a joint Earth Day extended and park celebratory event. There's a couple different minor events going on. One of the bigger ones is Joe Rohde will be there on April 22nd only for a very brief meetup. It's only 4 hours from 1 to 4 p.m. So if that's something you're interested in, that'll probably take some planning and patience to wait on to see.
Yep.
Has anyone met him?
I think
I-
Michael
walking
did.
around the parks, but
I
I
met
didn't
him. I
bother
didn't meet him, but same thing. I saw him walking around the park, actually with Marty Sklar, and I didn't. I mean, I kind of gawked, but I didn't. They were
Michael has, though.
Oh,
Montanez.
yes.
Yeah, I
Well,
remember
Michael
him
goes
talking
to
about, because he was at D23.
The D23,
Yeah,
right, right, right.
John, we really
yeah.
need to go to one of those.
I know. It's
So
true. So true. Yes.
part of the celebration will also be Donald Duck's Dino-tastic celebration in Dinoland.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that will kick off Memorial Day weekend, but still be part of the 20th anniversary celebration. It's just really sort of a decorating the land, a dance party, but for Disney character hunters, it will have Scrooge McDuck and Launchpad McQuack will be doing meet and greets along with toted Rarely Seen Pals. So that'll be another event, and it's happening because Donald discovered that his bird ancestors were actually dinosaurs. So they tied that in there.
Jurassic Park.
Think of why Donald and Dinoland.
Okay. All right.
So
Yes.
that'll be happening.
I didn't get to see it while I was down there, but one of the items we had on our list was the American Adventure update. So they did some updates to the film itself. By the way, I think the Club 33 entrance looks like it's pretty much complete there at the American Adventure too, as well.
It's the former lounge upstairs.
Yep. So that's interesting. They've done that. But what kind of? I really wanted to see it, but what kind of additions happened to?
It's mostly the finale.
Right.
So the ending
Golden Dreams.
montage.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ending montage has been changed, and they re-recorded Golden Dreams.
Someone
they
else
did some
singing it,
other.
or?
Yeah, they. Honestly, I guess I don't remember it that well. I heard the new one, and I didn't notice that much of a difference. Like they didn't like change the
Yeah, if you
tempo
could
off, and there were no
stop
like
that, that'd be
rap
great.
segments in the middle of it. So
There's rap.
No, he
no,
said
so
there's
there's no rap segments, so I didn't notice anything that drastically different. But there were some comments that they had messed with it too much.
Really? Oh man.
Then some just very minor changes to the show. Some of the backdrops, they used to be completely black, now kind of have like some very minor lighting effects on them.
Other stuff.
Yeah, so just almost like a Kind of like a sunburst effect, but that's pretty minor change, but no other real changes to the show.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering about it. I was just, curious, and probably, I don't know, did they have an all digital print before and things like that, or was that new as well? Or
yeah, I think that's one of the major sort of behind the scenes changes was.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, gosh, the number of times that those films run and they can get a little bit dirty looking at times from a print standpoint on traditional film. So I've seen no more talking Mickey Mouse.
Yeah,
I'm actually upset about this one.
Yeah, so the rumor is, for reasons that will probably never be made public, on May 12th, 2018, the meet and greet will no longer be I guess as the technical term is, articulated character meet and greet. So it'll be just like other regular meet and greets where Mickey Mouse will no longer be interactive and can no longer speak to guests.
Okay, I just got to know what happened to change this over, because quite frankly, I mean, you want to talk technology-wise, what I think has brought the magic to life. I think that is one of the cooler things that they've done ever. Like, to actually bring the static characters to life for kids and actually have them talking and interacting with. I can't imagine unless somebody did something inappropriate or something like what.
That's one of the rumors, that something happened that they considered to be too much of a liability. The other rumor is that this was just part of some cost-cutting measures that were going through the entertainment department, and they decided that was not a value-added expense. I think their lines would disagree. I mean, that became a crowd eater for them, which they get out of other character meet and greets. But I mean, that was, other than maybe Frozen, I'm not sure anything ate crowds more than that one.
It was such a cool thing, and then
it is still just a rumor. Nothing has been officially announced, but that it's circulating amongst cast. So you would think they would have some
head
insight
over there
to
one morning this week, because I still have not done that, and I've always wanted to.
Yeah.
Do it now. Do it now.
Do it now.
Get to the chopper. Do it now.
Get to the chopper.
Do it.
Oh, goodness.
Speaking of other things in the Magic Kingdom that have already gone away.
Oh, my.
The Citrus Swirl.
Wait a minute. Really?
Yes.
I saw that.
Yes.
What? So, but it looks like it's being replaced with something similar.
Yeah. Well, that'll be a debatable point for many, I'm sure. But the Citrus Swirl, as it was originally, is basically frozen orange juice slush swirled with vanilla ice cream.
Which
they took that away in like the late 80s and then brought it back for the 40th anniversary of the Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
Was that in the Orange Bird?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They brought the Orange Bird back and the original Citrus Swirl back. Actually, it was the spring of 2012, which sounds weird to say that was the 40th anniversary celebration, but when they start in October, they tend to carry over into the next year's spring and summer period.
Yep.
So it is now a orange swirl. It is Dole orange and Dole vanilla. That was clarified here recently. So it's technically a Dole Whip, just not a pineapple Dole Whip. So it's same options, the orange swirl in a cup and the orange swirl float, but it's just all soft serve Dole Whip ice cream now.
But is it together, or is it two separate? Is it vanilla plus
No, it's a
mixed?
swirl.
It's still a swirl.
Still a swirl.
Yeah.
Okay. So
how is it different?
It's just soft serve versus the old one
frozen
is soft
orange
serve
juice.
plus slush.
Yes, slush.
Yeah.
It was a slush.
Oh, so it's like orange ice cream and vanilla ice
Exactly.
Right.
There you go.
So it probably tastes more creamsically as opposed to the tart orange juice.
Right.
And
I
it's
like
with the
creamsicle.
orange pop.
Yes, and the float is still in orange soda.
Pop.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I have to admit,
Oh,
to me, this one doesn't make a huge difference because I'm totally a Dole Whip girl. Was never.
Right.
Well, see, I always like the orange
I like
better.
the orange one, but that sounds like a suitable replacement. So
I'm with Ian. I'm thinking this may be better.
I don't know. It sounds
Creamier
better to
together
me, John.
might be better.
Yeah. Could be an improvement.
Yeah.
The first comment said then that it's much sweeter.
I don't have any problem with that.
Put a sweet. Yeah, no.
Yeah, well,
good to me.
Just saying.
Yeah,
We're good.
Jason, do you have on your little list of food things changing at the Magic Kingdom? Did you guys hear about the devastation that is Cosmic Rays Starlight Cafe?
What?
Heard about that?
Wait,
What happened there?
What part of it?
Okay.
Okay.
Let me just tell you.
Uh-oh.
So,
All right.
I was there
Wait, hold on.
once-
Stand by. Stand by.
It's just in.
Hold on.
We
Hold on.
have breaking-
This just in.
This just did.
Yes.
Monday of last week, I'm talking 6 days ago, 6 days ago, I was at the Magic Kingdom, got my usual, hey, we got to go to Cosmic Rays. Carolyn really likes the pulled pork on the soft buns. Does everybody remember that? Everybody
my.
knows
I remember
my
that.
favorite-
my.
I'm not sure
On
we
the
should talk about that on the
pulled
podcast, but
my family-friendly podcast.
The
Yeah.
pulled pork on the soft buns. I don't like the buns toasted, and I don't like the coleslaw when, like, how they do it Flame Tree.
Okay.
I do not want the coleslaw on it. So when you go to Cosmic Rays, you would get a nice squishy bun, and it just had pulled pork on it, and then you could add on more barbecue sauce, and it was delightful.
Tasty.
And I go home to Canada, and I'll be in the cold and the snow, and I'll be like, oh, I really wish I was at Cosmic Rays going to get me a pulled pork sandwich.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Oh, my.
Got it on Monday. Everything was great.
it's no Golden Corral.
That's true. Went back like Tuesday night, maybe Wednesday night. The whole menu's changed.
Did they have Philly cheesesteak again?
No.
Oh, they had a good Philly cheesesteak.
They did?
That wasn't that bad.
That
So
was good.
now
It wasn't
they
Dallas.
have a lunch menu and they have a dinner menu.
Really?
And
No pulled
so
pork.
if you want
and
pulled
soft
pork,
buns.
you gotta go at lunchtime, but there's no bun. You
Wait,
get a
what?
plate with a pile of
Oh, it's
chopped
meat.
up pulled pork, meat, French fries, and a piece of cornbread.
We have the meats.
That's bizarre.
And that's they call that their lunch specialty. Now at the dinner time, you can get like ribs, and you
Right.
can get
But
a
no
bacon cheeseburger,
cheesesteak.
and then or just a regular cheeseburger. And they have no more pulled pork sandwiches. So
Wow.
single
Huh.
tear rolling down my cheek right now.
This just did.
Canadian tier.
Yes.
A hard week for Carolyn right now.
I did see where there's now a Sony Eclipse signature dessert.
I saw that too.
You know
Yeah, they
what?
got
It wasn't
really
getting
cake,
very
too.
good reviews, though.
By the way, that you know, it'd be funny. They could sponsor him by Sony, and it could be Sony Eclipse.
Oh yeah.
I'm just
Not
saying.
Sony.
You were.
Where's my
it
cricket
sounded-
Where's
sound
that
effect?
cricket sound? Get the
Hold
cricket
on.
sound right
Hold on.
now.
Hold on.
We need
What?
crickets immediately. There we go. Yes. Really bad. I
Well,
love it.
it sounded the way Jason said it, like Sony Eclipse, and I was.
That's just because he's from New York.
Okay.
Everything's funny by people.
All right.
Said by-
Well,
Not from New York.
so the
I'm
dessert. What is
Justin.
the
Oh,
signature?
Justin, sorry.
What's the? Yeah, Jason,
Hi,
Justin,
nice to meet
Justin,
you.
Jason.
We've met.
Yeah.
Hi.
The two
Carolyn.
shall never meet.
Cindy. They were
All right.
brothers.
What was the
What's the
signature
signature?
dessert? Yeah, specifically.
It's a cookies and cream cheesecake that's coated in chocolate and then has a white chocolate cameo of. I thought it was pronounced Sony Eclipse. It's Sunny Eclipse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
O in it.
Like listen
There's
up.
an O in his name.
Yeah, but that's like Sonny's barbecue place.
See, I was not
Yeah.
wrong. I was totally not wrong. He said
it's-
Sony
I
like
you
Eclipse.
get it?
Justin, or
it's
Jason,
a-
like 5 minutes to get back to that.
It's like the sun and an eclipse.
It's
Yeah,
Sunny.
I got that. I thought they were being more subtle than that, but
No,
I guess not.
They don't do that.
No. No.
Subtlety is not.
All right. It's good.
Okay, Sunny Eclipse.
That's a Jason. That's one of his firsts for tonight. Realizing that
There you go.
it's Sunny
Fine.
Eclipse.
What-
No,
what did they?
I think
Sony
we've
Eclipse.
established I mispronounced numerous Disney
It's all right.
words on this podcast.
What do they call the dessert?
Cool.
Sonny's
Cool.
signature.
Yeah, it's just like the Sunny Eclipse signature.
I don't know. That sounds pretty good though. I might be partaking of one of those. And
It's
Well, it's
a
no
cookie
admission to
and
s'mores.
No, that's
So.
probably true.
but it's got mixed reviews, so I don't know.
There's no pulled pork in it. So
Basically the comments were that it was pretty much like something you could get at like a fast food restaurant.
Well, all their food is
You mean like a bacon cheeseburger?
So yeah, I know.
I mean, why would anybody be surprised by this? That's what they're serving.
You'll have to ask Internet World. Speaking of restaurant changes at the Magic Kingdom, Cosmic Rays is not the only one undergoing some menu changes.
All right.
Be Our Guest is going to change this summer pretty significantly, their menu offerings.
How's that?
It'll now be a...
Prefix, right?
Yeah.
So it'll now be a set price 3-course dinner.
Prefix.
Yep. That includes your choice of an appetizer, an entree, and a personal dessert platter. But they have some interesting options now. They'll have escargot, staying with the French theme. They have, I'm sure Carolyn will be choosing this, charred octopus. They do have a filet mignon, kind of a lobster seafood dish. What's the other one?
They got chicken nuggets.
Lamb
They
chop.
got pulled pork. That's what she really
If
wants.
they got pulled pork and chicken nuggets, I'm all set.
They have roasted lamb chops. So they said it was a very French menu, but then when they start looking at some of the other items, like they have a tortellini, I don't really know how
How's that French?
Famous French tortellini.
Yes.
How's the Italian food in this place?
I'm a little confused.
So anyway,
there.
so that will be happening this summer.
Have some tortellini.
If you did want to have dinner there, just realize that is now a
Well, it sounds like they really took it
menu.
pretty high end. I mean,
Yeah.
before it was a little bit more like
Did they come out with a price point for the
It's
prefix?
$55 for an adult.
55?
55, and it's going to be 2. If you're on the dining plan, it's going to be a 2-table service now, 2 credits.
Gotcha.
well, I never ate there before, and I won't be in there.
Breakfast is still the same though, right? Where you can get normal breakfast.
I believe
Don't you?
breakfast and lunch are normal. Well, I don't know about lunch. Is it lunch too, Jason?
No, it's
Breakfast
just
is the
dinner.
same.
That was announced. Yeah.
I'm not
Didn't
a huge
we,
favor of those type of menus because I don't know. I
Did
mean,
we
we've
talk
done
ab-
them. but-
Sorry.
Sorry, Justin.
No. I'm jumping ahead. I'm sorry. You were speaking. I apologize.
No,
I didn't put my hand up.
Justin, your turn.
Did we discuss it on the podcast? Or was it in the chat about the Pinocchios going
I don't
to?
remember talking about that at all.
That was just the chat. So another restaurant changing at the Magic Kingdom. So buckle up if you liked all your Magic Kingdom menus, because they're changing. So yeah, Pinocchio's Village House. Speaking of culinary regional identity crisis. Well, Pinocchio's Italian and House is German, so we never quite understood that. Not, not Norwegian. Maybe it's in the Austrian-Italian border. I don't know. You got borders, right? I don't know.
I'm sure.
That's silly geography.
Somewhere.
And I almost said geometry. So
Damn geometry.
Geometric geography. So the room, still kind of a rumor because it hasn't been announced, but Dining Cast have been reporting it as if it's a done deal. The dinner service there also, they're expecting probably here in a couple weeks, we'll change over to Geppetto's Village House Buffet. So that would be a buffet of what really sounded like most of their existing counter service options. Flatbreads, pasta alfredo, baked ziti, chicken parmesan, and a dessert buffet including Italian cakes and cannolis. The price point is what caused our conversation earlier. $22 for adults and $12 for children.
Wow, that's cheap.
Which is cheap for a buffet at Disney World.
But it's not a character, right? It's not a character meal? See,
well,
that might be why it seems
we're
cheap,
missing a
because
1 in front of those numbers.
That might be why it's cheap, because
That was
I
a
can't,
typo. They'll
off
correct
the
that
top
shortly.
of my head, I can't think of another buffet that's not a character buffet. So maybe that's why it seems cheap.
Trails End.
Trails End,
Trails-
Oh, is that
At
it?
Fort Wilderness. It's so
Yeah.
good. And it's cheap.
So that's expected to maybe
With the
start
Wilderness,
during
that's
the
perfect side. I haven't gone back there.
peak spring break period, which Cindy might know better, but it looked like it could be March 24th through April 8th. So maybe sometime in that time period, they may start that to help alleviate the peak spring break crowds.
Yeah, and then and probably I'd have to pull it up, but local pass holder blockouts will probably start around that week too. So that would make sense because it's those 2 weeks before and after Easter that usually, unless you have the Platinum Pass, everybody in Florida is blocked out who has an annual pass.
Interesting. We got a couple more questions.
More questions?
If you guys are up.
Yeah, we're up.
Yeah.
Well, just real quickly, we can't really go into this one too much because I don't think anybody but me is gone. But Mel Stone asked about food festival review. I think she means Flower Garden Festival, but at this point,
well, it does have food now too.
All
right?
I can say is the
flower and food and garden and wine.
What I can say is the food that I tasted was very good on our social media. Jason posted a bunch of the stuff onto the Twitters. There was a bunch of posts on Facebook and Instagram. Check them out. One of the best things I had was it was kind of a really salty ham on a pretzel bread kind of thing. Pork. And you're going to have to look online as to what it was called. But all I can say is if you go, have that. Yeah, salty meats.
Gary O'Brien.
It's the...
what was it?
It's the toasted pretzel with Black Forest ham and cheese.
That was it, and it was just salty to deliciousness. It reminded me of almost like what's that really salty Italian meat like prosciutto?
Prosciutto?
Yeah, prosciutto. Yeah.
Hey, prosciutto.
Not to be confused with the gabagool.
Oh yeah, the gabagool. Capicola. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Well, unless you're Tony Soprano.
A gabagool.
That is one of the new items they are pushing as a signature item this year.
And I will tell you, if you get a chance, have it. It was marvelous. So I will say that I did try the cheesecake as well. It was with I'm trying to remember now. It was kind of
So the honey one?
It had honey, and it also had some sort of...
There's a honey...
so it was Pooh's cheesecake?
Mascarpone cheesecake.
How do you
say that?
Yeah, what...
Yes, mascarpone is correct.
Not to mention...
I got one.
Not to mention there were a number of really good drinks there as well that kind of incorporated...
Since I'm going with my 18 children, I'll be needing them.
Yes, exactly. So, Ian, you might want to stop by some of the many food and wine booths or whatever they are. It's not wine, but they had signature drinks, I guess. Like it was a bourbon and some sort of other stuff. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, it's fantastic. Fantastic, I tell you. But definitely get that signature dish. So, Mel, I really can't... I mean, I only tried 4 or 5 different things there and kind of moved on. But yeah, everything I will say tasted great. So the question is, I don't know how much it costs, but my guess are the average plates are probably between $8 and $10 a piece, typically for that kind of event. So other than that, Mark DiBatello, I think, or DiBatetto. Debitetto? Oh boy, Mark, I'm butchering your name. DeBitetto. Debitetto? Is that right? Anyway, asking.
Debitetto.
Don't ask me.
Debitetto. Why am I saying D? Like there's an I.
That was funny. Took me a second to catch on to that.
Asking any Skyliner news. We did go over the Monorail news. He was asking about my Monorail news as well. I didn't see much in the way of movement.
No, they're building them.
Yeah, thanks, Jason.
That's kind of it.
Hold on, stand by. Hold on. They're building them. This just did. All right, good.
I believe Jennifer said when she was there for the 5K for Princess Weekend that they went behind the scenes and they would buy one of the things.
Yeah, but it didn't look like there was much of anything going on still. I mean, I can kind of see where they're going to go, and you could see kind of the path that they're going to take, but really haven't seen much other than construction walls and signs. And I was down there only a few weeks ago. So,
have they given any indication on when they're going to open?
No, 2020 is probably the best bet.
2020, my lord.
2020, 2020.
Well, when is the Riviera supposed to be built, finished?
Oh yeah, that's
probably that same time period.
So I would think they probably
haven't
coincide that with that.
Yeah.
The Riviera.
Everything's timed to the 50th celebration. It looks like.
Right.
So what was the new hotel that I saw being built by the Starwood hotels, the Swan and Dolphin?
That's the new Starwood.
Yeah, it doesn't have a name yet.
It looks like a corporate office building or something like that.
It's really ugly. I mean, it is ugly as
that. As best I can tell, just leaked out. That was not something that was meant to be announced. So not sure how final that was, but yeah, that was the concept art at some point for it.
Do you think they leaked it just to get some feedback that it got hit with an ugly stick? I mean, seriously, it looked like every building in Washington D.C., like just every corporate building I've ever seen. Okay, that too.
It looked like every building in like Ewing, New Jersey. I mean, it was.
See now, you know what?
Send your hate mail.
Ewing, New Jersey.
Ian, send your hate mail to Grandpa Ian Mitchell.
Say that was very specific.
Ewing.
Ewing. I worked in Ewing. And
I was going
to Ewing.
It's like me singling out Dundalk, Maryland, or something like that. Downtown, beautiful downtown Dundalk, Maryland. Is this becoming like a David Letterman skit or something like that? From the home office in beautiful downtown Dundalk, Maryland. Yeah, I mean, it just is. It's funny. Oh, by the way, Carolyn's frozen. Is she frozen for you guys?
She warned us that
she's been having Wi-Fi problems.
Oh, it was great. You were frozen like with this. Look,
was either horrified,
like you were laughing.
I keep losing you guys, and you're siloning like crazy. So I'm just
you're okay on our end. But
now.
it looked like just every corporate building you'd ever seen had no flair to it. Yeah. I mean, given how Michael Graves, love him or hate him, the Swan and the Dolphin definitely are unique in their looks. I mean,
they're gorgeous.
What they are. And by the way, I forgot to mention, I stayed there recently and thought, the room redos were pretty nice, and the color palettes were kind of a cool blue color, and the rooms were big.
There. I stayed there when I was there for
ICOT 20.
ICOT 20.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. By the way.
Speaking of room refurbs, now I know we discussed it on a previous podcast about the Pop Century. Do we know what sections were refurbed?
Justin's trying to plan the ICOT run ICOT stay probably.
Yes, that's actually exactly what I was going for. Thank you.
Well, let me know if you figure it out, because then I'll book there too.
Because we're thinking of staying at Pop, and we were maybe looking to get into one of the refurbished rooms.
Cheap
I don't know
is
if it's
good.
a certain section or.
Cheap is good. Yes. So we don't spend $15,000 on our run ICOT stay. Right.
Yes. Do we want to get into that yet, or are we?
No, you can. Yeah, please go along, because
it sounds like a good segue.
We're gonna celebrate my birthday.
Yes,
is what we're gonna do. John's birthday celebration.
Yes, and it just happens to be a silly run going on then.
Yeah.
So November 1st through 4th of 2018 is Disney's Wine and Dine Half Marathon weekend. And me and my insanity, I'm planning to do my very first half marathon for that weekend.
Oh,
yes, I've never the furthest distance I've gone has been a 10K. So I put it out on the boards and on Intercot, and a few other people have expressed interest in coming and joining us down there, whether running or just coming to hang out. And since it's John's birthday,
yes, it is,
maybe have a little celebration.
Yes, culminating on November 4th.
Yes, it's November 1st to 4th. The first is the Expo Day. The second is the 5K. The third would be the 10K, and the fourth would be the half marathon.
Wait, is the half marathon on the Sunday?
Yes.
So
it's
on a Sunday?
Yes, and then usually for Wine and Dine, they have when they used to have the run at night, there would be the after party right after the race. As it's going on, you would have an after party at Epcot. Now it's the run is in the morning, and then they have an after party, which is included with your half marathon registration fee. You get to go in, but friends and family can also purchase the ticket.
When is that?
I believe it's at that night. The night.
Oh, it's a night. Okay.
Yes.
So I mean, a dumb question.
$79.
Wait, so let me ask this. Sorry to interrupt.
No.
So
Podcast.
the other, yes. So the after party or whatever.
Yes.
After which race does the race day does that take place?
The 4th, the day of your birthday, the half marathon.
Okay, so it's at the end of the weekend. Okay, good.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say. Oh my gosh, because if they had put it like after the 10 or after the 5, it's like nobody would want to go to it. Okay.
And there also is a challenge. I believe they call this one the 2-course challenge, which would be the 10K and the half marathon.
Okay. Which I'll be doing
Saturday, Sunday. And so
I haven't decided on the 5K yet, but I think
yes,
I would like to do that.
I plan on doing the 5K as a warm up and then the half marathon, and I'll be out there cheering for the 10K. So I know a bunch of people have expressed interest, and if you're listening, come on down. It's going to be fun. You get to see us.
And I'm wearing my shirt right now. You get nice gear too.
Yes.
Actually, which is
And
cool.
the weather won't be as cold as it is in January.
No, October's beautiful. Actually, it could be quite warm, quite frankly.
Or November when we're going.
In November. That's what I meant.
That's also a good time.
Yeah, this upcoming year
October's great. We're going in November.
Well, the end of October and the beginning, like you could arrive in the end of October. See, I'm trying to save, trying to work
And
to
yes,
save.
it'll probably
right.
still be warm. We don't usually get a cold unless something odd happens. The earliest I've ever seen a cold snap is mid-November. The beginning of November is usually still kind of steamy.
It should be nice.
We
Actually,
won't be making
for
a marathon
morning
weekend in 2019, so this will be
runs.
our.
This is our hashtag Run ICOT event for this year, and we will not be doing it. So quite frankly, I like the idea of doing a November run better than doing a January one.
Right.
Plus, will the Christmas decorations be up?
Yeah,
probably.
I think they will be because it's right after the Halloween stuff. So I would assume.
Just wondering.
It would be
happen.
Well, the 5K for this used to be called the Jingle Jungle 5K. Now I think they call it the Holiday Feast something 5K or something like that. Yep. So I would think that would be holiday decorations up, but I'm not sure. And the half marathon for this one is if it follows the course of last year, it starts at the Magic Kingdom, goes to Animal Kingdom, through Hollywood Studios into Epcot, and then out.
Wow, through all of them.
Yeah, it goes through 3. Whereas the year before, it only went through. It started at Wide World of Sports and then went to, I think, just Animal Kingdom and Epcot. But this one goes through 3 of the 4 parks.
I like that.
If they keep the same course, which hopefully they will.
That would be nice.
And so come join us. November 1st to November 4th is the race events. We're planning on going down the 1st to the 5th, the Monday, whatever the Monday is. Yeah, the 5th.
When does registration begin for the normal people?
Registration starts this Tuesday, which would be March 13th.
It's going to be tough for me to get that up online tomorrow, but I will try.
Well,
I'll try.
I mean, hopefully they'll still have, Wine and Dine is not one that typically sells out that quick, but you never can tell. There has been a lot on the Facebook pages for Run Disney and different run pages. There's a lot of interest this year in the Wine and Dine. Okay. I don't know if that's more than usual or it's just maybe because registration is so close to people just finishing Princess Weekend, so people are still on that runner's high and talking about registration. So, and plus without now races in California, you have more people, doing that. So, so come join us. It's going to be a good time.
Okay, cool.
Or it won't be.
Yeah. Everybody join. Normally a very nice weekend. I mean, in lieu of a Intercot birthday celebration, we'll actually be legal at that point. We'll be 21 years old.
21 years.
So Intercot can now have a drink. We've been waiting all this time. Finally, be able to do
I'll
that.
help it finish it.
I should be there.
You're going to finish Intercot's drink? Right.
I will help Intercot drink its beverage.
All right. So we got a time for
Are
a
you
couple.
Go, Carolyn?
I think so. Yeah.
That would be sweet.
Yeah.
So, if any indications here, a significant amount of the podcast will be there as well. So.
Heck yeah.
And like we
Jason
spoke
will
on
be
the
out of
boards-
money by then, and vacation days. But
We spoke on the
We'll
boards,
see.
and there was
You never
a
know.
big there was
Never
a big
know.
thread on the boards about it. So go to Intercot boards, and look up Run Disney.
that's
and Run Epcot,
INTERCOT.com.
What are these boards you speak of?
Yeah, one of these boards. People don't understand the concept of discussion boards since Facebook kind of took the place. But yeah, go to intercot.com/discussion, or just go to the homepage of intercot.com and then click on over to the discussion boards. And there's a whole community of people who are completely and totally tired of Facebook and just want to talk to you about Disney stuff and
Yes.
share.
And we're completely normal.
We're friendly too. The friendliest boards on the internet.
Well, Ian's on there.
Well, yeah, except for Ian, Grandpa
He's tolerable.
Mitchell.
We like Ian.
No privacy at all around this place.
We've got time for a couple quick things, Jason, before we wrap
Sure.
up here.
They have announced, although there's not a lot of details, that they will celebrate Mickey and also Minnie Mouse's 90th anniversary.
I don't know if you guys agree with this,
birthday.
but I think they look really good for 90.
Yeah, they do.
They really
Gosh,
do. Not a
Ian,
gray
you're
hair.
right.
Grecian formula.
All right.
I know. I mean, they must have great plastic
they've
surgeons
changed
too.
their look
because
over the years, but
really,
they really
the skin's still tight. There's no sagging. It's great. It really looks great.
So there were rumors that they would not do this anymore after the 75th celebration because they didn't want them to seem old and uncool to the kids. I'm not kidding. That leaked
just
out.
get them to do a rap.
So it,
just have them
looks
rapping.
like it'll start November 18th, which is their birthday, and will be celebrated at every Disney park around the world. I think they just mean the castle parks, but there's no really other details to that now, but that will be something interesting they're doing.
And when is that? Is that next year?
No, it will start November 18th, 2018, but then they say the party will continue into 2019.
Do you think they will celebrate that at Hollywood Studios because of the new ride?
They may, yes. That's also expected to be part of in 2019. That
I was
may
going
be
to say
part
that
of the
opens
celebration.
2019 though, right?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Let's see. What else? They have
So
announced.
if we all go in November, Toy Story Land will be open then, right? Sorry.
Yeah, it
Jason.
opens
Yes.
in June.
It would seem like it might be. I'm still crossing my fingers that I'll get
You know,
invited to
this-
cover the opening, but you never know. So we'll see.
That was
If
actually my
not-
next thing to bring up.
Hey, good segue, Ian.
Good
Thanks.
segue.
Very nice.
I live
So
to
they
serve.
have announced that with its June 30th opening,
There you go.
much like they did with Pandora,
Yeah.
there will be some additional hours associated with it. So morning extra magic hours will be held daily the entire month of July 2018 to give resort guests an extra peek at the land. Also in July, they're adding an evening extra magic hours for every Friday from 10 p.m. to midnight.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep.
Ramp it
Kind of
up.
like what they did with Pandora initially.
Right.
They gave the resort guests some extra time.
Yeah, I can see that. Which makes you wonder when the previews are going to start going on and things like that. And,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would
No,
imagine.
The thing with this one, though, timing-wise, because it's summer,
Yeah.
if they do pass holder previews, again, most people who, if you're at least a Florida resident,
You're going to be blocked
it'll be
out?
during blockout, because blockout it starts at
I think that's purposeful.
might be blackout starts towards the very beginning of June. It usually they're really good with syncing it up that there's like one day after school gets out in Florida where you can go, and then blackout starts right after that. And Pandora was in the fall, so it wasn't during blackout. So it'd be kind of interesting to see what they're going to do for pass holders, if anything.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it will be. Like, I honestly, that's one way to tamp down some crowds, right? Put
Yeah.
it during the blackout days.
Now, I
but-
forget. We're getting 2 rides with that. We're getting the Slinkies coaster and the Alien Saucers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the new Toy Story queue and maybe some
Well, yeah, right.
Right.
places to
Right.
eat.
Oh, have
And
you
the new
guys
little
done the new
restaurant
track? The
No,
new
I was just
track
going to
for-
ask that. Has anybody
The
ridden
room
it?
is so cute. The design on
No.
it is it's really really cute.
Has it,
We
has
actually
it done anything for the lines?
Oh yeah. because it's actually been closed.
Right, because how they've been doing it, they have people lined up strangely for it now. You don't go through the regular queue. You're going through almost, if you go past the building, there's a queue that comes in and you go in a side door. It's really weird the way they have it right now.
But I mean, are the wait time shorter now that they opened the second track?
What's a third track, and it was shorter, at least by comparison.
Right, yeah, third track.
When they closed the third track, the wait time's about doubled.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then now that they have, I think right now the original 2 tracks are closed, and they're only operating the third.
I thought the ride was supposed to go down completely.
And then before probably the end of May, it'll go down completely to switch over.
That's what it is. Okay.
For the June 30th opening. Yep.
But the new room is really, really cute. It's basically Andy's bed, more or less. And like the door you go in is like almost like you're peeking through his closet door. It's actually really cute. Sorry, I can't do it more justice than that, but
yeah, it's about you're going to do a theater of the mind there.
Yes.
So, yeah.
One last segue.
One last?
We talked about them adding extra magic hours for Toy Story Land. One more hotel will now have access to extra magic hours.
Which one would that be?
The Four Seasons Resort Orlando has now been added to the program. So this comes off the heels of them adding the Disney Springs area resorts earlier this year. That was back in January, I believe. So now they've also added the Four Seasons Hotel to that program.
Out of curiosity, do the Bonnet Creek resorts get that privilege or not?
No. I don't believe so.
That's interesting. As they're pretty much on property, but I think they're irritated
I'm sure they
that
just
they're
don't pay
there.
for it.
Yeah,
right.
I think they're irritated.
They're inside of the property, I think, is the story. That was a
not on
Disney
owned land.
They couldn't buy.
Right.
So Four Seasons is on Disney-owned land, or was at least at one point. I don't know about the Disney Springs area. I think they are also.
Those good neighbor hotels out there all get extra magic.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah.
Now,
I've stayed at a couple.
I will say though, going back to the Run Disney thing, from what I've heard, is the Bonnet Creek. What is it though? Is it the Wyndham or
Wyndham Bonnet Creek, and then there's
one of those.
There's the Wyndham, the Hilton, and then the other one over there is
the S. Waldorf Astoria.
It's a Waldorf.
Yeah, Waldorf Astoria. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the Wyndham. Apparently treats the runners really well. So if you're doing that, they actually have the buses and then have special breakfasts and all that kind of stuff. So I just have heard that. So another option if everything else is full up, I suppose. But you won't get your privileges, as Jason is noting.
Yep.
So,
membership has its privileges.
It does indeed. So is that it? We've lost Carolyn. So it's a sign.
That's most of it. I guess maybe 2 quick updates for Norway and Epcot.
Yeah. Okay.
The bakery is closed for a 5 to 6 month refurb.
Wow.
There will be a temporary kiosk to serve school bread and a few of the other famous pastries.
Okay.
But it closed.
I don't even know what the
February
school
4th.
bread is. What's the school bread?
You don't know what school bread is?
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh, now we found John's new candlelight procession.
Something else I've got to try. Apparently, I don't know. Maybe I've had it. What is it? Just ask.
It's
it.
like sort of like
pastry.
Yeah.
It's what? Sort of a what pastry?
Cream.
Cream?
Yeah.
Cream.
Yes.
Yes, you are familiar with the concept of cream.
Why do you mean like filled?
I'm confused by this.
Do you mean like a donut that's filled with cream?
It's got like I don't know how to describe it.
I'm so confused.
It's like a cream filled pastry with I think shredded coconut on top.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it's sort of like
sounds pretty good.
It is.
It's on our Instagram from a few trips back.
Okay. Is it? Well, I didn't put it there, quite obviously. Well, okay, maybe during in November, maybe for my birthday, somebody can treat me to one of these mystical
You'll have to go to the temporary. No, it should be reopened.
Should be open
The
by then,
bakery
right?
will reopen summer 2018.
Okay.
It's a long time for bakery refurb.
Yeah, I'm thinking, what are they going to do to the thing?
The rumor is they're going to expand it.
Oh.
Reclaim some former backstage areas.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, either the seating or the because there's like an outdoor seating area with it. Either expand that or the bakery itself. The other Norway update is that the Stave Church exhibit is changing. Frozen is getting the boot. The boot?
Yeah.
Das Boot. Sorry, wrong country.
Yeah, really. That's around the corner.
Instead, they're working again with it's a museum or a cultural society in Norway, and it will be an exhibit on Norwegian deities, different Norwegian gods during the Viking era.
That's a little more appropriate, I think.
Yep.
Is it really?
Just saying.
So
They can still get some cross feels with Marvel with Loki and Thor.
Well, that's kind of where
no.
Just maybe.
No.
I'm just saying that. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they're working with the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, Department of Archaeology and Cultural History.
Wow.
You know what that acronym is?
Holy shnikes. That's a mouthful.
So
and when is this happening again, Jason?
The Frozen exhibit, which they tried to say was, what was the full name? Norse Culture, Inspiration for Disney's Frozen, is closing March 12th. So actually tomorrow, we're recording this on the 11th.
Yep.
And then they don't give a new opening date, but they say it will be spring 2018.
And Infinity Wars comes out April 27th?
Stop.
Oh, they just moved the date up, right?
They did. They moved it to April. It was actually the first weekend in May, and they moved it up a week.
Oh, I finally saw Thor Ragnarok. I very much enjoyed that one.
I like that one a lot, too.
I really I enjoyed it. I haven't seen Black Panther yet, but I
you
want
have
to.
to
Neither
go
have
see
I.
that.
I haven't seen that one, but
Me neither. I don't do superhero movies.
Yeah, I'm kind of actually, I just had this conversation with my whole family. I'm like, I'm kind of getting over the whole superhero movie thing.
I never really got it. It's not my thing.
well, there's one out.
I
every
saw
other
the
week.
original Batman, and that was like the last one I saw.
Yeah, it's reached saturation for me, I think.
It's actually, I find it incredibly annoying. It's just like every 2 seconds there's some new, like, I don't know.
But you get to see Stan Lee, isn't that worth it?
You get all of them together
out of all
coming
his
up
money.
here. Infinity War has tons of characters in it. So
One of the items will be the Hammer of Thor.
There you go.
Again, I don't know.
Called it.
But
I'm
also
sure
a
it's a
Viking
coincidence.
horn. Yeah.
all right,
Also a Viking drinking horn will be another item.
okay.
Announced, so it could be a mix.
Oy, oy, oy. Hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody, tonight. Just a little reminder, head on over to magicaljourneys.com, book your next Disney vacation, and then head on over to the official ticket center, visit Patrick and Friends, and get your tickets.
Come join us in November.
Good prices, yeah. And then join us. Yeah, exactly. Use both of them to book your trip to join us in November. See?
And use Quicksilver to take you to and from the airport.
And that too. Yep. Transportation services provided by Quicksilver. Sounded like a game show there. But yeah, be sure and join us. And then, like we mentioned, head on over to intercot.com and join us on the discussion boards and have a conversation with us. We're there. So anyway, that wraps another edition of the Intercot Insider Podcast. I'd like to say thanks to the entire crew, including Cindy, Ian, Justin, Jason, myself, John, and the nation of Canada, who apparently left us.
The whole nation.
Yes.
Who apparently has very bad internet.
Apparently. So until next time, thanks for joining us. Bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And we're out.
Nice.
And we're out.